go. All right, so introduce myself briefly. I know people have joined this session more than once, but for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Joe Gonzalez. I'm on a strategic support team at LinkedIn. It's dedicated to really just helping RGPs be successful on our platform. And I've provided a variety of resources and material, for you guys to leverage, that's very specific and private just to your team. So I'll be introducing some of these resources as well as a few tips and tricks today, and then opening up for further questions and discussion on the actual group I've created for you guys to join, so that we can continue the conversation and maybe dive deeper into some more sales specific or more or less recruiting specific topics that you guys would like to cover or get better at. So this is really about getting more of this partnership that you guys have that's special with LinkedIn. So kind of the brief agenda of what we're covering today is introducing your team of support and talking about, again, the resources I've created for you. We're going to talk a little bit about the thought leadership and content marketing side of LinkedIn and really how this can work from a sales and recruiting perspective. They can build a bigger brand, again, just helping you guys to get faster response rates and really permeate your brand throughout LinkedIn. And then talk about how to really do some strong business development, really do some good sales work through this presentation is kind of sprinkled in. So just going to kind of dive in. This is a team that has been carefully selected here, basically to support you guys from all angles. On the top left, Mark Grimshaw, he's the account manager that's responsible for the relationship with RGP. He also has a handful of other large accounts as well, so that's why we have a team that's more closely dedicated, such as myself in the middle right, Joe. I'm here more on the ground level to work with individual offices and do strategy planning and product consulting, and take a look at how you guys are building your profiles, company pages, and how you're approaching business, and how to help you guys, to really continue to get your guys' name out there. So I'm more on the ground level, and then Mark's handling the bigger partnership. His counterpart, Emily, basically pulls along with the reporting and data, basically to talk about your engagement on the platform and how you guys are being successful, such as converting people who are viewing your company page to following you, or people that are responding to your emails, or looking at your profile and requesting to connect with you, or basically being more responsive. Nina is in charge of all the media campaigns that's already happening with RGP. So you guys have a lot of great branding that's already being pushed out there as a part of your guys' bigger kind of part here at RGP. So Jerry Miller, he is basically the support guy in regard to the technical product itself. If there's any issues for that, or talking about how we can leverage future solutions. And then Jonathan is kind of the tech support guy as well. So just so you guys know exactly who to go to kind of get your questions answered as quickly as possible, you guys will have access to this slide through the group on LinkedIn, and also via email, I believe, when it's sent out to you. So this way you can kind of get the best support possible. We can help you guys out. So talking about the resources available to RGP right now, one of them is for those who are using the Recruiter Professional Services platform, the Recruiter platform. We've recently done a revamp on the Learning Center, so always good to kind of brush up on concepts such as how to apply a more efficient workflow, how can we write skilled email messages, how can we make sure we're leveraging every function of the platform. That is the spot to learn all this stuff. There's self-paced tutorials. So this is the Learning Center. I'll point it out to you guys when we actually jump into the platform in a little bit here. And then this group, as you can see, LI, short for LinkedIn, for Resources Global Professionals. Basically, this is going to have a few different things in it, from a webinar series that I've created, basically on how to recruit and sell on LinkedIn, and again, to kind of do this thought leadership piece. It's a deeper dive on what we're going to be covering today and throughout the rest of this little slide presentation, which is only a few more slides. So it'll be kind of like deeper concepts and a little bit more longer presentations on some of the concepts we're going to touch on. I've also put in some different Boolean search strategies. So, if you're prospecting, for candidates or for potential clients, it's a really, really great video I've watched a lot of different Boolean style educational, walkthroughs, and I found that this is the one, this guy Glenn Cathy really does one that's It makes you think about Boolean and how you're searching in a way to learn and gain insight as you're searching. And it's more of an art form than a science. There's no exact way to hit everyone you're looking for, because on LinkedIn, everyone is able to define their own roles, job titles, etc. So how do you learn and learn more about your talent you're trying to find as you're running these searches? Really game-changing for me, at least. So I know people really love that video. And big one, everybody has questions on email best practices. And then LinkedIn put out a guide to modern recruiting for your recruiters. And then I also just generate discussion topics for us to kind of go through one by one on this group. So a great space for me to pull in, Jonathan for tech support, or for Jerry for talking about different products and best practices. So I have a great team around me, because I know, kind of who to pull from to get you guys great info and data on what your questions are. So would love this to be the forum in place for you guys to join and talk about what it is you want to learn more about. So anything I don't cover today, we can continue the discussion there. So the webinar series within the group is basically mostly focused on recruiters, but the concepts honestly do work for sales as well and brand development. It's called Recruiting in the Digital Age. Basically, your profile is a company page on LinkedIn. Everybody talks about it being your digital resume, which it is. But, it really is a way to kind of validate yourself, right? As you reach out as a salesperson and say, I basically want to talk to you about an opportunity, a partnership together. And, you have to say, here's my credentials in a sense. So LinkedIn is always seen as a way to kind of validate yourself through endorsed skill sets, recommendations, past companies, clients you've worked with, initiatives that you succeeded on. But at the same time, how can we turn your profiles into a way to also educate those who are viewing it? How do we provide extra value to convert at a higher scale, the prospects and candidates that we're trying to reach out to? This is a way, doing these things together successfully will easily differentiate you from the rest of the competition. Quick stat for your recruiters, there's about 1.2 million recruiters on LinkedIn. And 60% of all research, or of all decision-making, basically is done before they actually engage with you. So myself as a salesperson, I found that really interesting, because that meant that my message had to be extremely clear. It had to be different, and I had to provide some type of spark or extra value that others didn't, but also at the same time validating my knowledge and my skills and my ability to best assist that customer in being successful. So, whether it's talking about the different types of consulting skills that you guys have, or abilities or tools that I've seen you guys put together, and resources, it's what makes you guys so different, and how can we tell that story in a very clear and compelling way. So right now there is this, really on LinkedIn, there's members that are following companies and participating in groups, and I'm sure you've heard these things before, but we're really seeing certain companies capitalize within certain industries. So taking that target market that you really want to grab on LinkedIn, there is a land grab, as you can see on the slide. There's a land grab going on, and there are companies that are establishing themselves and really becoming, the company or recruiting staffing firm, search firm, or consulting firm of choice, within their target market. And once they've owned that, it's been hard for others to take it away from them, or to really attract attention elsewhere, because things are permeated and shared so quickly and easily because of the social media platform. It's really, if you put that message together effectively, you can really just kind of take over a portion of LinkedIn. And I've seen it happen for numerous companies. And it's really not that difficult, but really it's that second piece, that education piece that we're going to talk about today. It seems kind of like more of like a soft ROI as you're reaching out. You're not necessarily converting into just a response, but you're seeing the way that this snowballs and grows, and your guys' conversions and turn from prospect to potential client, it's going to be much, much quicker. Can't even tell you. So that's what we're talking about for the rest of the session here. And when talking about building this follower base on your guys' company page, we think about, well, why is this important, and what are my followers looking for? And I've heard of this stuff before, and I've seen how many, we have tons of followers, but what does this really mean? So why people are following companies? 31% are for new jobs, so that's great for those who are recruiting and for your business. But 68% of those people who are following your company right now, just about as many, are really looking for news and insight. So essentially, as you guys follow companies, you're looking as a salesperson for updates regarding, the things that they're following or what's happening in their industry, what are they doing and changing as a brand themselves, and how can they leverage on that, to write an effective email, engage that executive or the right person at the company, and really just, build a strong relationship, showing that we know what's happening for them, so in their world. So news and insight for your guys' own company brand, this is things such as, I call this when you write these postings, a rule of 3, something related to, again, your industry, showing that your guys are cutting edge. Obviously, consulting, you guys have probably a variety of topics you can post on, so that's great, a lot of flexibility, and obviously can provide a lot of value there. But, cutting edge news and insights. Secondly would be the company update, something on the RGP brand, because people are interested in following you guys as a company as well. And the third would be, opportunities to, connect and utilize your services or job opportunities, whatever these are. That's kind of the cadence I like to build for the majority of companies on LinkedIn, is to get industry update once a week. The next would be something related to your company, and third would be an opportunity. So keeping things fresh, interesting for them. But I always found this stat really interesting, that they're just as interested in news and insights as they are in new jobs, which is why we used to think most people joined LinkedIn was to get new jobs. Now they're really looking to, once they've got that job, they want to know how they can get better at it. And they also want to know who they can connect with to share resources and learn so that they can be, a better employee or to help grow their company. And that's where you guys step in as a consulting firm. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to do this. So what impact does this have on the ground level for recruiters? And honestly, this works again for salespeople too. If somebody's following your company, they essentially have to raise their hand and say, I want to hear about all these updates from RGP. They're opting in to receive this kind of weekly newsletter. So 78% more likely to accept your email, which is huge. That's really what most people want on LinkedIn is, hey, I want people to respond to me right away. Well, if you engage more people as followers, absolutely, they're going to be responding to your guys' emails. So 3 times more likely to apply to jobs. They're 61% more likely to actually be a brand ambassador, so talking great about your company and sharing things. Obviously, if they're in the know about what's happening in your world and they're finding value there and learning there, they're going to be sharing that information, and they're 10 times more likely to actually click like, share, comment, or post to groups with a thoughtful comment with the content that you guys are distributing. So easy to take and leverage this audience who really cares about what you guys are doing and permeate your guys' brand throughout the rest of LinkedIn. Now, the nice thing is a lot of this stuff's already happening for you. I'm just going to talk about how you guys can make some quick tweaks and changes to basically help you guys leverage yourselves in your own particular seat and duty as well. So 2 things you should be doing on LinkedIn right now, and I'm going to walk through one of them in just a second, is making sure you get the best profile that you can have. Seems kind of redundant. I know a lot of people say, I've been on LinkedIn a long time. I really thought I got this nailed down. Joe teach me something totally brand new. I just want to walk through a few things that I find aren't utilized a lot. And I went through a couple RGP profiles and didn't see some of these tips, so I want to make sure I address them. But really, the more information we can have on your profile about you and who you really are as a person and your role within this greater mission, we're going to give people the opportunity to have a better warm introduction with you. I can't tell you how many times, because I wrote spearfishing and lobster diver in my summary and profile, that I've had, guys talking about fishing, and that just happened to be the way that we really ended up doing business was through that kind of conversation starter. Secondly, on your company page, if you're not already following RGP, please make sure that you are. Absolutely, everybody should be. And there's articles that are they're being posted on a consistent basis here. So, I would suggest a few things. I would be establishing, your own news coming to you that's relevant to your audience, and if you can contact the marketing person, the person in charge of the postings on your company page, push some articles to them with a thoughtful comment. Get them to post something kind of on your behalf there, so that it can be posted on the company page. Where this is the end goal for the conversation starters that you have. This falls into that statistic of, potential candidates or clients, 60% of the time are going to be doing the research basically on the internet about your company and about your opportunity and about you before actually engaging with you to respond. So they're going to end up here. They're going to get your email. They're going to get your email. They're going to look you up on LinkedIn or click your photo. They're hopefully going to follow your photo to your company page to learn more about you, where, as you can see right now, you have a great graphic. You have a great summary put up. People have their photo up on the page already. And you can see on the bottom right, there's an opportunity here that's been taken as far as media to say, hey, Joe, that's actually my picture, saying, hey, Joe, you might like to follow RGP. Click this button to get the latest RGP jobs, news, and more. So a very intentional branding piece. We get them here, we want to get them engaged and to really understand the valuable message that we're trying to convey. And to make me say, wow, that's actually a really good idea. Now that I'm reading more about this company and I have this great, sales or recruiter person reach out to me, I really am interested in what this could do for me. So these content and posts here are essentially validating you guys as far as, again, your knowledge of the industry, what you guys are doing as a brand intentionally, and then also, the opportunities that are available for me if I were to connect with you. So take these articles that are on this page, and as you can see on the bottom, there's like, comment, and share. I know people do this on a daily basis. You read your news in the morning, like I always do. I log into LinkedIn and look at a few articles, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and I'll potentially like something or write a comment, and then maybe share something valuable in regard to sales practices to, some sales groups I'm in. Trying to kind of build my own reputation and then share some good ideas with my network. But go ahead and take, not just click share. The first option I'll give you instead of clicking share will just be to your entire network, but actually I can share this message directly to groups that I'm a part of. It's a very simple tweak and change, but every time I actually push this information, this article out to LinkedIn, it's going to have that RGP logo on the top left of the article, which is a link back to this page, where already right now you guys, actually the update is about 40,000 followers plus, which is amazing. It shows that you guys are obviously extremely established, but this can continue to be pushed, these relevant articles, be put into groups where you may normally be prospecting and kind of shoulder tapping, looking for opportunities to engage potential candidates or clients. That's a very transactional focused based approach. It's very common on LinkedIn. Now we want to be able to go in, as a consulting firm and say, look at this, look at how we're revolutionizing this industry. Take a look at this, client example of how we're able to, change this in their field and the techniques we're applying. And here's what we're all about. Come read more. And this company page here is going to have case studies and concepts, industry news. It's going to show that you guys are on the cutting edge and you know how to help companies basically, evolve and grow with the market. So this is a really great opportunity for you guys to just take in turn and make sure not to just share it to your network, but actually be more intentional about the groups and maybe specific individuals. Personally, I think a specific message shared, with a certain article and a thoughtful comment, hey, Bill, here's this article and we just posted on the healthcare, revenue cycle consultants just posting, this is why I think this is valuable to you. I was just thinking of you. Hope you're having a great day. Let me know if you want to discuss some of these topics and ideas. Right? And it's a very intentional message, very thoughtful. Really, that's going to generate a really high response. Excuse me. And if you're also doing a little bit of research on the company and seeing what's happening in their market, you can also mention something that may be a slight pain point, but how you're providing solutions. So those are the types of ways that I like to write emails and engage potential customers. Really, again, adding value, introducing myself, and being memorable, and also being thoughtful about what's happening in their world and giving them a next step. Can't tell you how important that is. It's just giving a very clear next step that is non-aggressive, but in a way that's, basically being more of a partnership. So I'll jump now to my desktop here. There we go. So as I mentioned, LinkedIn for RGP, this is the group you guys can become a part of. So if you just search this group or click on the link after, actually after this presentation, it'll directly take you to here. You're going to see a variety of topics. So you can see some discussion topics I've created. Here's actually a copy of this presentation that I gave last Thursday. I mentioned, that I put in a boot camp series. So for those recruiters, and honestly, this works for salespeople as well. I put together a boot camp series for you guys about rethinking your profile, how the ecosystem works on LinkedIn, how to basically leverage this company page and do this content marketing and thought leadership piece that we're discussing now, and then also how to write really, really effective emails. For those of you who are really trying to get more out of your in-mail messaging, I was also posting, I think it's next Tuesday, it's August 26th, we're going to be hosting a in-mail best practices writing webinar itself. So I will be posting that in the group that you guys can leverage. So if you hop in and join, you'll be able to see that invite there and join us. And again, kind of different options here for in-mail writing, how to write truly engaging job postings. Here's that video on Boolean search, like I mentioned. How do you target the exact right members of LinkedIn? And then also draw insights and figure out where they hang out and how can I leverage what they're doing now on LinkedIn. So again, LI for Resources Global Professionals, please go ahead and join that group. It is private and locked, so it might take me a little bit here. I got to go through and actually allow you guys all in. If you haven't checked out your page recently, you just reached over 40,000 followers. And again, what I'm asking you guys to do here is, as I'm following your company, if I were an RGP employee, is not just to click share, which will allow me to share the updates, but I can actually share it to the groups that I'm a part of as well. So I should be able to share some of these, send to individuals. You guys as your own company can actually, if I'm just following you, I can't, but as your own employees, you click share and I can select specific groups and I can actually post to the groups. I always write a thoughtful comment as to why that article is valuable or what I got out of it, or even more importantly, how do you start and generate a discussion that will lead somewhere and bring more perspectives and comments in, because the more comments that get posted and the more interaction, the higher up it rises within the group. It's just common, that's how the system works. It just brings those important discussion topics to the top so that when new people come to join, this is something that's relevant, important, that's getting engagement. So, I guess I would challenge you guys to take to the next step and really not just post the article, but figure out how can you strip conversation. So let's jump into, I want to show you guys just a couple of things I noticed missing on a lot of profiles. I see that people have different opinions on this, but the tagline that you guys post, I try to, again, tell more of a story and make it more educational and valuable and as far as what my kind of mission is or what I'm trying to encourage on mine versus just a job title, because they can look up your job title, on the actual page itself. So it can be something about your personal mission or what you kind of stand for, or something that's you in a bigger sense, what really drives and motivates you versus just your job title. I like to use it as a way to teach you guys. So, a tip of the day, build meaningful relationships, candidates become clients. I work with a lot of search and staffing firms specifically. So picture, don't have any sunglasses, don't be looking to the side, don't be, try to get somewhere where you can see your face. It's got to be memorable, and that way the more they see your messages and comments as you post to groups, you want to make sure that they continually see your face there, and do that saturation repetition is going to make you, again, become more memorable and make you stand out and differentiate you. So one of the things that are really under-leveraged on profiles is actually the media piece. So I like to see, a summary that really talks about, again, who you are as an individual and person, what really motivates you down deep, to make yourself as real as possible, as if you were talking to some of your closest friends here on LinkedIn, but then also talking about, how this plays into what you're doing now, and basically kind of telling, validating yourself as to how you're the fit, and this is the perfect timing and the perfect place, and here's how we're, achieving these goals. So on your profile, if you click edit, I actually pulled up a video here, Opportunities to Resource Global Professionals. So if you're just to copy and paste, you've noticed edit before here. This is to edit the text, but I can actually add a link or upload a file. So upload file would be like a slide share or a PowerPoint or some type of deck presentation that you've built or white paper. I can add a link, post a link here from the video, and I can actually write in like what I wanted to say here, opportunities and resources global professionals. I can actually edit this to say something else. So this is what I've done on my own profile. And this will eventually post here where, as you can see, when people engage with me, myself, again, talking mostly search and staffing firms, I can see that, hey, here's the right way to build your company presence on LinkedIn. On top of that, the bigger concepts of how to build, engage and then potentially recruit or sell to this audience, I give you a 2-minute video tutorial on how to do this quickly and easily. Link to our Talent Solutions blog. I've got, a quick video on our little advertising stuff for LinkedIn, a recruiting demo, and then I put my own personal presentation here that I did for rethinking your profile. So these types of things, as people are engaging with me and say, who is this Joe Gonzalez guy? What's he trying to sell me? They see that, hey, I'm providing a tip of the day. Hey, I'm talking about industry-related knowledge, news, and updates. I know what's going on, and I'm trying to share it as much as I can in the right way. And then I'm also creating these engaging, video pieces here for people to watch and, learn how to be more successful, with something that I'm trying to teach. So something highly valuable to the audience I'm reaching out to. I like to put these things, I have quite a bit of video, and presentations, but I try to still be selective about what I'm putting under each category here. Again, just kind of sharing what is RGP all about. I would take that video for opportunities or for any of the marketing pieces you have on RGP, and I would put these under your current experience there. Maybe something around your mission or what really drives you guys as a brand or how you're really, working with clients. If there's any case studies of client videos, excellent stuff to have. Again, it's validating and hopefully spinning it in a way that educates instead of just says, look at how awesome we are and, how successful we've been. It's, what does that mean for you, Mr. Candidate or potential client? And then down below, lastly, I don't know if you guys get endorsed for a lot of skill sets. I would edit and delete any of the skill sets you're not interested in being endorsed for, and try to only accept endorsements from those people who are actually know what you do in this space and can be a testament to, what it is that they're endorsing you for. So you can reorganize these based on how you want to talk about, again, validating your abilities and skill sets. But I find a lot of people just accept what gets sent to them, and I'd be more specific about, what you want to be branded for. And again, as you can see, I have a very long profile with lots of information. Again, I'm just trying to create more touch points and warm introductions with my profile by keeping it as full as possible. So jumping over to the LinkedIn side here. So as you guys see, and I know some of you are using the Recruiter platform, I wanted to jump in and just show you a few tools and kind of quick tips and tricks, which you guys as salespeople can use as well, on how to draw insights on how talent is moving and how we can see trends moving on LinkedIn. So we can kind of learn a little bit more to be more, I guess, tactful, intentional in our approaches to potential candidates and clients. So regular LinkedIn, obviously, is just going to be news about your own particular industry and what your network's doing. On the Recruiter platform, obviously more specific to the talent we're trying to reach out to, getting responses from these people. Now, one of the things that are, again, so we're going to switch to the recruiting side just for a second here. And I did get some feedback on previous presentations that they wanted to have. The salespeople said, I want more sales-specific presentation, and recruiters wanted more recruiter-specific presentation. So I heard that loud and clear. In the future, I think here we're going to just do some break-off sessions for individual, interests, so sales and recruiting specifically. But I am going to touch on kind of some both underutilized techniques just quickly here so that everybody can kind of gain value while sitting. And I hope that during this session right here that salespeople will actually learn a little bit about how you guys can leverage, your team here. So as you noticed in Recruiter, as I'm prospecting, I actually ran a search for sales managers on LinkedIn. One of the things really important about, how to gain insight as far as how talent is moving, I never really thought about leveraging filters in this way before, but no matter what type of subscription you're using, you should have some of these filters here of current company, past company, we can say years in position. And as I'm looking through this list, obviously there might be a little more filters on my approach and say, I'm looking for sales managers with maybe 10+ years experience within the medical devices industry. You're looking to place this talent at this medical devices company you're working with now, and you want to figure out who is gaining and losing the most amount of talent. So thinking about current company, past company, if I set my time of position to less than 1 year, over 2 million sales managers in the U.S. So you can see under 2 million people who are sales managers in the U.S., we can see that the past company, who's lost the most sales managers in the last year, I can see IBM, Microsoft, a lot of tech companies, right, as you can see here. But I can target specifically and see, wow, IBM lost 7,000 sales managers in the last year. It could be that some of them got promoted, so there's kind of like maybe a 20% margin. But all in all, I can see IBM is losing a ton of talent, and then I can also see they're also gaining a ton of talent. So past company, they left IBM 29,000, and current companies said they gained 7,000 back. So this is just a way I learned how to kind of draw insights as far as to where talent people are moving and resources on LinkedIn, so that I know that, hey, you know what? IBM lost 29,000 sales managers and gained 7 back. So 22,000 of them changed, either elevated to the company, changed roles, or left. So there could be good potential for me there, as you know, my specific sales pitch is towards sales managers, or that's the type of consulting and resources we like to support and develop is for sales teams. Whatever industry that you want to target, we can target specific industries as well. We want to be more specific to financial services, for example. I can see what sales managers in financial services, which companies they've joined and which ones they've left in the past year. Again, Wells Fargo losing 3,700 and gaining about 1,000. So I urge you to start thinking about whatever filters you have, whatever subscription that you're at currently, is just figuring out how you can not just target people, but as you're searching, how can you learn about how talent and people are moving on LinkedIn, essentially resources, to go towards a specific mission or goal for that company. So that's something I never really thought about or learned how to do before, and I thought that was really, really interesting. Excuse me. Next, we'll show you guys here. I had built out a project for the sales managers and have applied a status of future prospects. One of the things, be able to recall the work that you've done in the past as you guys build out, and for those who are in sales, a project essentially is just a folder for housing potential candidates for a very specific job. So what I'm doing here is, I'm organizing all these profiles. I have 25 people for this sales manager position test project. Excuse me. And so what I've done now is I have this ability to kind of scale my efforts of selecting all these people. And essentially, if I put them in this project, I've vetted them or looked through them as a potential opportunity here. And I can actually apply different keywords we call tags to their profiles, so that I can actually recall them later. So this same works for prospecting for sales as well as it does for recruiting. So what I can do here again is just apply a tag to everybody. And I know that everybody here is in sales. I know that they're all managers, and then I could even use other terminology. As you can see here, I can just click. I have a variety of keywords that I can select and use that you can actually custom build out yourselves. So that way, internally as an office, you guys can leverage off of the work that's done and say, oh yeah, I'm looking for somebody who's also, an A player. My dad is an executive search guy as well, so I like to use terminology such as A player or maybe 100K plus salary, whatever it is you guys want me to pull from. I can apply this terminology to all profiles at once. And even if I disband this project in the future, I can actually, again, run a recall for these tags and then also apply other filters to say, people who are sales managers that I've looked at in the past that we've maybe, with or without. I love this portion here, with messages. People who we've engaged with in the past that also have a message or that also have, tags. So I can actually sort through the large list that I can recall and say, well, I want to look at those sales managers that I've actually talked to in the past. I can't remember all the ones that I have, but I know there's quite a few. So I can look at people with messages and then apply the tag of sales or sales manager. So quick and easy ways. I just noticed personally that tags get underutilized, and I find that recruiters sometimes forget that you can select all within this group setting and be able to apply a mass, keyword to these profiles that you've vetted and said, hey, these are great talent. We're going to move on. We've placed that person. We've helped out the company with that initiative. But I want to keep these people kind of in my pipeline, but I don't want to keep a whole project open for them to keep it inundated. So quick and easy step there to change that up. You also have the tag feature here right in their profile as well. So when looking at a profile, and there actually is an article here on your RGP group that talks about how to write better emails, and this is one here on 7 recruiting challenges made easier on LinkedIn, and also on the email best practices guide. But it talks about, Alan Beers puts together an article on 3 filters you should utilize to write a better email. And so how do we target, as we're prospecting these candidates, how do we really engage them in a really efficient and effective way? And one of the first things I go to on these profiles is I try to come down here to the either people that we have in common, the groups they're a part of, companies they're following, and then also thought leaders they're following on LinkedIn. To try to get an insight and idea around, hey, do we share a common interest as far as a follower? Can I go to that company page? Can I go to that group page and maybe pull an article that they have shown interest in the past? I find that I share a lot of the same groups as the people that I'm prospecting with. Obviously, learning about what they're talking about, what's happening in their world, and what are their fears, what are their goals, what are their dreams, and how they're being successful. They're talking in these private groups. If you can gain entry, and you can also leverage some of the content that's there or the followers that they're basically reading and listening up on. I like to use that as a point of engagement and bring up a specific article that they commented on to kind of generate that first set discussion and be honest and earnest in the way that you do use that. But then also to see, hey, do we share a connection, potentially the same school? That's a filter I use often is, hey, do we happen, as I run my prospecting sales call, I put together and I say, hey, I have people who graduated from UC Davis, because it's a really easy entry for me to talk about, hey, go Aggies. This is, hey, how did you love Davis? I graduated from there, and that's an easy entry point. So there actually is this article that they'll take you through on the group by Alan, and again, what's going to be covered on the 26th on that invite for the in-mail writing is really how do you leverage a couple quick filters to target a group of potential prospects or clients or candidates that you can reach out to in a really efficient way by leveraging just a few filters, and it'll teach you to write a very specific message to these candidates or clients. Similarly, for those companies that you guys want to be obviously prospecting and reaching out to, I would assume you're already all doing this, but let's say I'm at RGP and I'm interested in potentially engaging Cisco for some consulting. Absolutely should be following the company, again, learning about industry updates, brand updates, opportunities that they're demonstrating here on their own personal page and company page. If you'll notice, and maybe you've looked at this in the past, but they actually have a careers tab, a lot of these bigger companies do, which talk and actually build a custom landing page and talks about the mission, the opportunities, usually provides a video, and these are great points of engagement to learn about what they care about as a brand today, and then the opportunities that they're trying to recruit for, or where they're obviously putting up. These opportunities are showing that these are their initiative. This is where they're trying to invest money. And so as I look at potentially, Joe here, who is at this company, the technology executive, one of the things, again, that I always immediately go to after reading kind of their mission and their own personal directive is, again, do we share connection? Can I leverage some of the groups that we're both a part of? And who are the influencers that they're following? And there's some major ones on LinkedIn that major executives follow or managers follow, and for me, it's pretty quick and easy to find, again, an influencer, somebody that they're interested in, and I do read my news on a daily basis, and I can basically pull some of these articles, share to them, and say, hey, what did you think of this particular article posted by Tony Hsieh or by Jeff Weiner or Reid Hoffman? Here's what I loved from it. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback. Hey, we'd also love to talk to you about how you guys are accomplishing this, and your industry is affected in this such a way because of the economy. How are you guys combating this major problem that I've noticed is talked about in this group we share? That's the type of approach that's going to generate conversation, and in-mails should always be a conversation starter and not the contract, right? So how do we build a relationship through this? And one last thing, as a salesperson or recruiting individual, or anybody that's really at RGP, I mean, you guys probably know this, but we had an executive engagement training session in Chicago a few weeks ago, and it was really about how do we target the right person at the company to make that sell to and make sure it's the quickest and easiest turnaround, but also how do we truly partner and sit on the same side of the table as a potential client? How do we write this introductory email, and how to really get them, talk about something that's going to be of interest to them, but also provide value. So part of this was doing the research on the individual, see what their particular experience and background was. More importantly, and I never thought about this, was really looking at, for example, take this Cisco example one more step, but really looking at their letter to shareholders, their annual reports, if they're a publicly traded company, and reading about what their CEO or their management is talking about as far as, hey, what happened in the last year? What are the economic conditions and external factors that are affecting their business? And essentially built out this template saying, okay, what is affecting them as a company externally? what's their current business initiative, right? So reading here, what's happened, here's our vision and strategy, here's our execution on this last year, and how we went about it, and how are we successful, how are we giving value back to those who are investing in our company, and then how are we capturing the future opportunity. I love this portion because it gets the full story of what's happened and how they've reacted, and how they've been successful or not so successful, and how they're ramping up for the future. This makes it very clear and evident, hey, here's where our priorities are, our fiscal 2013 priorities. Here's where we're investing money, contributing to take advantage of the opportunities in front of us by doing what. And so as I learn more about what the company's initiatives are, specifically not just from a mission or from trying to just do discovery from a conversation I get with, say, a manager, and try to ask questions to bring up pain points or to know what they're going after. Love coming here and just kind of making sure I take this step to read about what they're posting publicly out to their own audience about what they're planning on doing and how they're going to go about it. And so there's a 5-step process we went through of understanding the external factors. So when I engage the executive, it's, hey, I understand what's happening, the economic conditions, the external factors affecting your business. Here's where your current state is, your business initiatives, as I've read, through your different channels here. Maybe be more subtle instead of just saying the letter to the shareholders, but I understand your current initiatives. Here is the solution that I'm proposing, or the opportunity that you have to take advantage of by partnering with us. Here's how that would be implemented, and here is the projected, outcome of how this would look. Here is what this would do for your business. So find that form of engagement in the 2 to 3 sentence piece has really been successful for our team now. As we really, again, how do we get on the same side of the table as Joe here? How do we understand what his pain points are and what the company is doing as a whole, and where they stand, so that we can, again, not just sit across and try to dig for questions to figure out what's important to them, but really understand externally what's going on and what their company is trying to do as a whole, and how they're planning on doing that. So again, that's the validation, then obviously follow up with the education piece. So today we've gone over the resources available to RGP. I mentioned here, join this group, tons of great content. I try to generate some discussion topics. I would love for you guys to contribute as well and ask for more clarification or consulting or resources here, as is what's important to you. Again, you have your company page. If you're not following, you must follow, and start sharing these posts to the groups that you are a part of, and think about how you can provide this relevant, updates with a thoughtful comment to engage in discussion within these groups. That's what groups are for, is to share best practices and ideas and comment and generate discussion. And unfortunately, we as salespeople or recruiters a lot of time inundate that with shoulder tapping and trying to recruit out of those groups because good talent's sitting there. But again, that's a way that you can draw people out of that group who maybe you couldn't find in the Boolean search, that define themselves as a sales ninja instead of just a salesperson or some other odd kind of naming. And we can actually get them to come out and engage with our company, learn about our value, and do that 60% of the time, research ahead of time before engaging with us, so that we can convert at a higher rate. And again, you look at this knight in shining armor, which is what the RGP brand is as far as consulting, and how do we help elevate you to the next stage and help you gear up to be successful with all the resources and knowledge and people we have, for you. Is a great perspective and story to be telling consistently across every profile, across the company page, across content that's shared, and across the postings and opportunities that you guys update with. Again, on the recruiting side, we talked about adding tags at mass scale, so we can recall this information later. And then also on looking at the different filters we have, and start going through the own filters that you have accessible to you, and start looking at how maybe you can draw some inferences and some insights based on the results that you are able to see. Current and past companies, obviously industry, and obviously time in the role. It just helps us to see where talent or opportunities and resources are moving on LinkedIn. And again, as we research these companies, checking out their career page, engaging with people who are from their company and looking at, what do we have in common? Can I leverage group? And more importantly, thought leadership. That's, a big reason why, especially executives and higher up individuals that you're consulting with, they're going to be grouping and influencers are going to be very, very important to them. It should be very limited. And, if you find something you're really interested in, check out the groups they're in and go ahead and join some as well. Because you can have up to 50 groups that you're pulling content from, and it's just going to find more ways for you to really share thoughtful insights and data, and obviously pair it up and supplement it with the resources and opportunities you guys have by partnering with RGP. And then again, you guys are probably pros at this already, but I love looking at the letter to the shareholders. Again, how can we understand the external factors affecting their business and the economic conditions, really sit in their shoes for a minute and evaluate their competition, look at their current business initiatives as stated in their letter to shareholders and mission and company page, maybe management letters, and then also be able to say, hey, here's a proposed solution, write this out ahead of time, and really approach that executive with a way that's partnership, continued in this really professional way that I'm sure you guys are fantastic at. So I'm sure, again, we're probably going to be following up with some sales-specific and recruiting-specific trainings following this. So I will be kind of gathering feedback continuously on how you guys like to see some things moving forward. But I urge you, again, please join this group or request to join it, and post your discussion questions or concepts you'd like to learn more about. I can always pull from my product consulting and media and tech specialists to articles that can help you guys out or help you guys get more out of this platform. So I do have about 10 minutes left here on the clock. So as you guys have any questions, I am happy to answer them. There's a chat box on the right-hand side. So definitely anything you guys would like me to clarify, specify, maybe any quick questions you have, I'm up to staying on the clock for another 10 minutes. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. Well, there we go. If you guys have questions, go ahead and just type them in the chat box. I'll go ahead and answer them. So, and I'll let the group know what your question is. So, Steve, go ahead if you have a question. No, you're not the only one in today's session from RGP. I think you guys are blocked from seeing each other, but I've got, there was 14 attendees this morning. So yeah, there was definitely, you guys are all from RGP. Awesome, no problem. I know a lot of the stuff for you guys may be somewhat redundant. I hope that, some of the quick little tips, tricks, and updates. I mean, I will be honest that so in this role ahead of time, before I came to this team, I was working with an executive search, with executive search firms, small boutique shops, so little, 3-person shops, and really, it's, I can't stress enough this thought leadership piece, and I know that, as recruiters and salespeople, it's like, hey, I need to maximize my time. I mean, I've done sales my entire professional career, managed sales. I know like how to prospect, and really it's this part of how can we really come in, almost kind of just really in this altruistic way. I mean, you seriously can be coming forward as RGP as this knight in shining armor if you tell the story the correct way. And again, it's got to be, we're putting this web out there, if you think about it. All the profiles, all of the content you're pushing, every time you share the company brand, the groups you're a part of, the postings, opportunities you guys post, these are all opportunities for someone to engage and figure out who RGP is and what does that mean to them. And if the brand's message is either inconsistent or it's not particularly clear, not everybody is super sharp or can really understand the value maybe sometimes you guys can provide. It's got to be real simple, the verbiage you're using. And again, storytelling is really an art, but how do you let this permeate through your profile? How do you share a really cool video that as people watch, don't post a 45-minute video, but if you post a 2-minute video that just really hits people and it means something specifically to them, and then we like to make our profiles open for anybody to engage with, but not me. I like to have my profile be directed to search and staffing firms. You guys are consulting, but you're also in our search and staffing vertical based on, because you guys do recruit as well. But, I really build my profile for the recruiters. So as they try to, it's really building the trust with them, understanding what we can bring to the table and how we do this. And hey, here's some tips and things and articles to help you guys out right away. You don't even have to talk to me. There's some stuff that's important to you, and let me show you why. The articles I put out, I created my own, I urge you guys, if you're interested, creating your own following on LinkedIn as well. I also have my own particular group, Recruiting in the Digital Age, that I built myself, and that's where I try to engage my own audience. So if you guys are ever interested in kind of creating your own groups, I definitely suggest going ahead and starting to just engage and build an audience where I take some of these articles and ideas, and again, really create this engaging atmosphere that I can kind of direct my own way and that I own in my own way. So, I know you guys will maybe target certain different groups or different types of potential clients, opportunities, depending on the different industries that you want to service. But really, I like to go and establish myself in one in particular and really become the thought leader to go to and a point of resource and learning for a lot of these people. So it's really this thought leadership and land grab. Any member of LinkedIn only follows about 6 companies and an average of, I think, about 10 or 11 groups on LinkedIn. So really, this like information diet of what you want to be spending your time researching and learning about. I only have so much time to read a few articles on my homepage, and half of it's inundated with personal connections, news, and updates. But really, it's my Pulse application and my group updates and emails that I get that are really telling me about, Joe, here's some sales best practices. Here's what's happening in the recruiting world. Here's what's happening with your clients. That's the kind of stuff that's most interesting to me, because that's going to help me do better at my job. And again, that's the majority of the reason why people are joining LinkedIn today. It's not just to get that job, the next step, but really how do I get better at it and, again, establish myself as a thought leader. And for those of you who haven't, you've probably seen you've gotten access recently, but you can actually create your own writings and postings on LinkedIn. I'm looking for it right here. Create a profile. You can actually, I've added different things that I've written before, so I can actually share, again, when you upload a file to your own personal page, I can actually write my own documents and post them here on LinkedIn. And then if you have gotten an email, some people are allowed to actually publish their own professional content on LinkedIn, and really LinkedIn has become the main platform for professional publishing, and intentionally through that influencers piece that we did, and now being able to follow companies and groups. So really, really important there. But, I just urge you guys, take the initiative and just go out there and start establishing yourself that way. And again, continually providing value in a really lasting way. It comes back tenfold, and people want to share that story, just like a great initiative like a Tom's or something that really touches you as an individual. You target that audience with a great story and message and how you're helping people, and you're doing it in a very humble way. And people are going to share that, with the groups, with their contacts, with their network. That's the way that you basically get brand ambassadors sharing you guys. You have a huge network of 40,000 plus followers. How do you leverage that, right? So very important stuff that's happening now. And again, the Recruiting the Digital Age webinar series and the content in that group is going to help you guys do this effectively. And if you have any questions at all, please, just write a message within that group or contact me directly and connect with me. I'm happy to help you guys work on this for your individual industries and markets. So looks like I haven't gotten any more questions. Awesome, good feedback. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And again, I'll be looking forward to talking to you guys all within the group. We'll take care.